Hello, Pirate Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Anchor Podcast with Dr. Brandon Hubbard. We are here today with someone who is the epitome of perseverance, someone that's inspirational. We have with us Mrs. Isabel Lozano. Thank you, Ms. Lozano, for being with us today on the Anchor Podcast.
Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, so Ms. Lozano, she's been in education for how long?
Well, actually, I received my 30-year pin from Waco ISD just last month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
So 30 years. I started off when I was 18 years old, so that gives away my age. 18 years old as a bilingual secretary there in the department, and the only reason I was hired was because I was bilingual. I was fluent in English and in Spanish, and that's what they needed. I had no secretarial skills straight out of high school.
Right.
Within a year, Dr. Yolanda Lopez tells me, you know, Isabel, you're really bright. You pick up things really fast. Have you considered going to college? And I said, no, nobody's talked to me about college. I didn't, as a daughter of immigrants, I didn't fit the profile of what went on to college.
Right.
And so nobody talked to me about college. I remember them talking to me about 4C College, which was the secretarial trade school.
Yes.
And so to me, I remember telling her during the interview, oh, but I can go to 4C. She's like, no, you don't. No, you'll pick up those secretarial skills. So she helped me register at MCC. Back then it was paper and pencil.
Wow.
She brought an application. She said, I'm going to help you register. So you need to start going to MCC and taking some classes. And I tell everyone it was so beautiful. To me, it was as if I was going to Harvard. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. My parents were so proud of me. I was so proud of myself.
Yes.
But then I get married and have 3 kids by the age of 25. So it becomes really hard, really hard. Then my mom gets diagnosed with cancer. She passes away within 9 months. And I'm what am I going to do? You know, who's going to babysit my 3 kids? My husband and I, nobody teaches you how to be parents. Nobody teaches you how to be a good wife, how to be, you know, you're just going through life.
Yes.
You're just doing life. And so in poverty, doing life with 3 kids was hard. And I remember saying, I have to finish. I cannot give up.
Wow.
I cannot give up.
Yeah.
And so I remember one night I was on my porch. It was like midnight, and I was just crying. I was crying out to God, Lord. I mean, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't work. I can't be a mom. I just can't. I can't. But thank God that I was able to finish school.
Yes.
At that time, I was already working in human resources, so I transferred over to human resources. I don't know if you know, but I'm a pastor's kid, so I grew up in the church, and so grew up doing a lot of missionary work.
Oh, wow.
And my dad currently is still in Mexico at the age of 83, still has a beautiful church in Mexico. He said God called him out there 13 years ago. After my mom passed away, he remarried, and God called him out to Oaxaca. He's not from that area, but it's the state with the most indigenous people. And so we go 3-4 times a year to visit his church. And he comes to visit us too. So my parents had always instilled in me the love of people. You know, you look at people and you just take what's good. Take the best out of them. Because if you just focus on the negative, you know, you're going to find it. Right. So look, for the best in people. So I loved HR. I loved talking to people, but I would go and recruit to come and teach to Waco ISD. I always wondered, what is it to teach in Waco ISD? What is it to teach? I mean, just to be a teacher. And I just remember it was just out of reach for me. So I leave Waco ISD and I go venture out, you know, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. So I get hired with CPS for about a month. And at that time, my son was playing soccer, select soccer. And so one of the coaches from the Veterans Affairs office, they were hiring. They were needing people to rate the cases and to look at the paperwork. So he says, hey, you have a degree, right? Yes, I have a degree. Apply online. I'll see you Monday. And so I was hired, but it was 6 months in. I was doing good. I was doing production and quality and quantity, meeting my quota. But it was like something was missing. nothing.
Not fulfilled.
It was not fulfilled. I just loved working with people, and it was great work because you were doing great work for our veterans that deserved someone to be doing great work for them.
Yes, ma'am.
However, I just wanted to talk to people. I wanted to see people. And I remember logging back on the district's job site. And I saw that there was a position for business at A.J. Moore.
Yes,
So,
yes.
well, I know Ms. Ryer. I'm going to email her.
Yes.
Ms. Ryer, I'm interested. I have a degree in business. And she tells me, well, this was in the summer, I'm out of the country for 2 weeks. Send me your resume and I will get back with you. I said, oh, she's not interested. Yeah. So the summer went by. A week before school starts, I get a call from Ms. Ryer at home. Back then I had a house phone. Now nobody has a house phone. And my daughter tells me, Mom, Ms. Ryer called you. I said, oh, yes, I haven't registered my son Diego because at that time Diego was incoming ninth grader that was also going to go to A.J. Moore. And so I called her back. She's like, no, honey.
Yeah.
No, Italian woman.
Yes,
we love Ms. Ryer. No, honey, I had someone resign, and if you're interested, I want to interview you. And so I interviewed the next day and went to onboarding or orientation that first Monday first day of school, and then that second half of the day I was in the classroom with like 30 ninth graders looking at me. I didn't even know what to do. But I can honestly say that was the best year. Everyone says, oh, my first year is so traumatic. I loved it. It was beautiful. It was just, I don't even know how to say it. It was just a beautiful year for me. And I knew that was my calling.
Definitely.
Because it definitely is a calling.
And the rest is history, right? You're still at it?
I'm still at it. So I'm in my 6th year of the principalship. So
right.
Within 4 years, we're there 2 years, and then we transition to university, or the schools are consolidated.
Yes.
And that was devastating. I remember telling everyone, no, don't take us away from our wonderful school. We were high performing. I remember we would go to, in the summer, we would do presentations.
Internships and all of that.
It was just beautiful what we had.
Yes.
So we consolidate with the university, and I can honestly say it was a great year too, just because our students had opportunities in a state-of-the-art campus, a brand new campus. I remember seeing the computer labs, culinary classrooms, the mechanic the bay too. It was just beautiful. I'm like, wow, we've been missing out. So now we have the best of both worlds,
right?
And it's great. And so I go visit one of my friends, and she tells me, so what's next for you? I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go back and get my master's in business.
Yeah.
I really like business. She said, why? You say you like education. There's no one that looks like you in the principalship. The kids need you. You're bilingual. You're from the community. You live in the community. Why don't you just go back and get your master's in educational leadership? And I remember asking her, what do you recommend? You did Tarleton. Go look into Tarleton.
Yes.
And so I reached out to Tarleton and started the master's program that week afterwards, and I loved it. I finished it within a year and a half, and now I've had people reach out to me, do you want to start your doctorate? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm a grandma now, and I think I like just my free time. I just
spending it with your grandkids.
Spend it with my grandkid and my husband. Now we're empty nesters, and so I've considered it. But I really do love the principalship.
Wow.
During the pandemic, I had actually applied for an HR position.
Yes.
I didn't get. And the feedback was, you just need more leadership. You just need more leadership experience. And I took it. I went and I Googled leadership classes, ran into Region 4, the superintendency program.
Yes.
And so registered and finished the course within the year and received my superintendent certification, learned a lot, but I just haven't taken that next step for the doctorate degree. But I feel like I'm okay. I think I don't know. I've talked about it, but I don't know yet.
Well, hearing how you progressed and hearing your story, that's inspirational for all of us. I remember around 2010, I guess your first year at A.J. Moore,
Yes.
I was there at the time.
Yes, you were my appraiser.
Yes, I was.
He was my boss.
We were there, and I remember that time, and I remember you being gun ho and starting out, and hearing your successes is amazing. I also want to talk about, you are the daughter of immigrant parents.
Yes.
How did that, how were there barriers or things that you had to overcome to get to where you are, being the daughter of immigrant parents? Can you talk to us about that?
A lot of barriers. So one barrier would be just the language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, to me, language access is so important. And I'm currently the co-chair for the Hispanic Leaders Network for the language access that we're trying to create, or break those barriers for like nonprofits or even other businesses that want some type of device, translation device, or even interpreters to help. So that's what I'm working in the community with under the Hispanic Leaders Network. It's just a language barrier. I remember my mom saying, you know, why am I going to go to a PTA meeting? I don't even understand what they're saying.
Yes.
So to me, that's why it's so important to translate every Spanish. I mean, I wish we... I've only received 2 other students. One of them was a Filipino, and I'm glad that some of the programs that we have, like the S'more newsletter, I know some of the call out, like Blackboard and other stuff, they can translate into the language. We just have to click it. So I've only gotten the 2 languages that I've been in the principalship for 6 years. So I think it's important, just that language access. Also, just not knowing how to navigate, not knowing where to go. I think, to me, I just praise God and thank God that Dr. Yolanda Lopez was part of my life and part of my success, because I didn't know where to go. And I know I genuinely think that our counselors, the people that are in education, they do the best they can, but we just don't have enough. I mean, we just don't have enough.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I don't blame them. I just blame the system. I mean, we just don't have enough help. We just don't have enough information.
Yeah.
So at that time, for me, it was just the access, language access, and just knowing how to navigate the system, and knowing where to go, where to pick up applications. But once I understood, once somebody helped me navigate through it, I was able to do it afterwards.
Right. So hearing that language acquisition and just the ability to navigate the systems, some of the cultural things that, we may take for granted that parents know how to understand, what advice would you have for a superintendent like me? I've been in it for 8 years. I'm in Chilton, Texas. 65+% of our student demographic, Hispanic, 20+% emergent bilinguals, and even many more who are first generation college students. What advice would you have for someone like me to ensure that families who experience some of the barriers that you've experienced, what advice would you have? What recommendations would you have to ensure that we are making sure that those families feel like a part of the system?
Great question. So something that I really loved from our previous superintendent, Dr. Marcus Nelson, was just that community involvement.
Yes.
He wanted us in the community. He wanted to connect us with the community. He made sure that we were visible.
Yes.
And so by that, I've made a lot of relationships, served on different boards. I'm still currently on different boards, nonprofit. And I just think it's just important to network and so that you can there's a lot of great things going on. For example, something came across my email today that was forwarded from MCC.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning they have information in Spanish. It's a whole morning session for Spanish speaking parents, and this is great information that sometimes if we're not connected we don't know. And so I think it's very important as superintendents, as leaders in the community, that we build connections with those, or just network with those higher education institutions, higher ed, as to what's going on, and just just connecting with grassroots voice. There's just so many organizations that are doing so many things, and they're knocking at your door.
Yes.
And we just have to open it and allow them to come in. I know after the pandemic, a lot of things were changed, but now we're finally coming back to some normalcy where I've even had those conversations. It's time to welcome the parents back.
Definitely.
It's time to welcome the community back into our schools, because they're the ones that are helping us.
Definitely. So, Mrs. Lozano, you progressed as a teacher, instructional specialist, and assistant principal to principal, and recently you were named the Region 12 Principal of the Year. Tell us how fulfilling was that to get that nomination, that award, and what does it mean to you and your family?
I know it was through the TEPSA, the Texas Elementary Principal School. So, it was just, it's just humbling. I mean, I just don't realize. My husband tells me, that's big. You need to take it serious. I'm like, but I just feel like I'm just doing what I love. Like, I really don't do it to get praised for it. I really don't do it. Like, you go above and beyond because you love your calling. That's how I see it. Even when I was named Principal of the Year within my 3 years of principalship with Waco ISD, I could not believe it when our superintendent named. I was looking at someone else. I'm like, oh no, I know, that group is going to get it, because those are the ones that have been here. And when she said me, and I'm like, me? I was shocked. I didn't even know what to say. But I just, it's beautiful to see that other people recognize your hard work. Yes. And even right before I came, I was talking to the assistant principal and our behavioral specialist, how talking to a parent, and really you just have to listen to parents. You have to listen. And I was telling him, ultimately we have to work together, because we have to make sure your child is successful. Right. And so it's not really me winning. It's not you winning. It's like, what are we doing to move your child forward? That's it. Yes. And so, and we had a great conversation, and I don't know why it went to this. And I was telling Ms. Guajardo, I said, even last night I was asking God, what's next for me? Yes. Where do you want me? You show me the way, because God, I think it might be time, but you just show me what's next for me. Right. What's next for me? I want to serve in another capacity, even just showing people what it looks like to run a good school, just the systems that we have in place. And I love design, I love leadership, and I like strategy. That's just, I love all that. And I'm like, Lord, how can I help people do that? I mean, I still feel that I still have to grow. I mean, I don't have it 100%, but I feel like I'm ready to. And I was telling Ms. Guajardo, I said, then, I was thinking to myself, a lot of people praise themselves. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. But really, your testimony is not what you say about yourself. Yes. What do others say about you? Definitely. How are others going to remember you? Yes. When nobody's seen you, how are you treating those people? What are you saying about people behind closed doors? Right. So I was telling her, every morning I ask God to help me. Lord, help me see things through your eyes. Help me speak through because my mouth, sometimes I'm like, Lord, help me, Lord, help me. And so it's just, to me, it's just that never forgetting where God has brought you from. And I have a little plaque on my desk that says, I still remember praying for the things I have today. Yes. Because we lose focus. Yes. And we lose focus, and this, I tell everyone that Facebook is a lie. I mean, because who's going to post, the real stuff? Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, we have filters, we have this. And my husband, no, you got the wrong angle. He's like, girl, photos don't lie, pictures don't lie. I'm like, but yeah, that's not a good angle. So, I mean, it's just, just being real and just asking God to guide us every single day. That's just it. And sometimes, every day I fail, but every day I ask God to just guide me and to forgive me and help me be better. Help me make a difference in someone's life.
Definitely. So let me ask you this. Why do you feel as though you've been successful?
I feel that I've been successful because I have the right people on my team. Yes. I couldn't do it without me. I tell everyone the key to leadership is hiring right.
Definitely.
So I read the book, the Leadership Pipeline.
Yes.
And there was two things that struck me. And I remember from being in the HR department, I worked 11 years in HR. So it's two things: hiring the wrong person and leaving the wrong person in that position too long.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
And really, you have to hire right, meaning that they have a heart to serve, that they love the kids they serve. Just because you're not successful in Chilton ISD doesn't mean you're not going to be successful in La Vega ISD. You know, everybody's different. Just because you're not successful in first grade doesn't mean you're not going to be successful teaching English AP.
Yes.
So it's just finding the right person
seat
in
on
the
right
right
bus.
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
That's it. So just the love of people. I love people, and to me, when they interview, I hardly have any. I have like 100% retention, and I have a list of people waiting to transfer over.
Yes.
But I love people. I really think you take care of people, they will take care of you.
Absolutely.
And I always tell my family now, even my daughter that works for corporate America and has a leadership role and is entering that, I tell her, hire people that are smarter than you.
Definitely.
A lot of people get intimidated.
Definitely.
Oh, she's not going to outshine me, or he's not going to outshine me. No. You're the leader. You're going to take the credit.
Yes.
So as a principal, I want people that are smarter than me.
Absolutely.
I want people to come and say, Miss Lozano, this, that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will take it into consideration. I can't promise you it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love that you saw it that way. We're going through... we're going through procedures. You know, first day of school, teacher raises their hand. I think we should do it like this. I didn't see it that way. Thank you. This is what we need. We need some thought partners. So just allowing our staff to have a seat at the table.
Definitely.
And they feel comfortable. I tell them, this is secondary. You and your family come first.
Definitely.
Because if you're not regulated, you can't come to school and regulate 23 kids in your classroom.
Right.
So I love our staff. I am blessed. I thank God every day for our staff. Yes. I wouldn't be successful if it wouldn't be for them.
Yes, ma'am.
I can be very, very honest.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Honest.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's amazing. That's amazing. So hire the right people.
Right.
And don't leave the wrong person in the position for too long.
For too long, yes. And take input. Let them have a seat at the table and let them problem solve with you. And, I ask you those probing questions. That's good. We're all... Remember a couple of years ago, I had one of our staff members come to me and say, I didn't appreciate that. And I said, well, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for feeling safe enough to come and call me out.
Right.
Because as a leader, I also have to be reflective.
Yes.
And I also have to process how I say things because I might think, oh, well, I didn't say it that way, but that's how she received it.
Right.
And I have to honor that. Okay. And so that's what makes, I think, our school very successful.
Excellent. Yes. Excellent. Well, I might come work at Kendrick.
Okay.
So let's shift gears a little bit. You're principal, professional, 30 years of experience in education. What is something that people might not know about Mrs. Lozano?
I love my family, and I serve on boards. But when I get home, my circle is very small.
Yes.
Very, very small. And I like it that way.
Yes.
We all travel together, my little circle of my sisters and our husbands, we all travel, but it's very small. And sometimes I tell my husband, am I weird? Or do I just think other people are weird? Because my husband is an extrovert. I mean, even last night he had his buddies over. He has in the back, has his TV. They were cooking out. And I said, I'm just really tired. No. You don't even have to cook. I usually don't. And they're there watching a soccer game. And they clean up. They cook. They clean up. And so he's all about that. But with me, I feel like I'm drained because I give so much of myself throughout the day. But I love to cook. I love to dance.
Yes.
I love to sing. I mean, I don't sing. I mean, I just like to sing, like just sing. And I just, my faith, I think my faith, I'm not perfect, Lord. I feel God every day, but it's just what was instilled in me by my dad. I just think my father, growing up, I didn't see it that way. I'm like, dang, I'm so weird. They don't let me do nothing. They don't let me. But I thank God for that, because I know I'm a good mom. I'm a good wife, good grandma, good employee, just because of that foundation that was cemented in me.
So you mentioned it, but we've read it. You like to cook.
Yes.
What's your go-to dish? You know, you've had a hard day at work, and you're ready to come home. What's your go-to dish? What are you known by?
Strained, just a quesadilla, and then on the side I say chile, tomate, cebolla. You know, the tomato, jalapeno. What you have to have in the Mexican kitchen: tomatoes, jalapenos, and onions. You just saute them with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of a little bit of slap your mama. Now I've introduced slap your mama to all my Hispanic family. You have to have slap your mama in the kitchen.
Right.
It's funny how now we do. Where's the slap your mama? Where's slap your mama? So we put everything, even in the beans and everything. Slap your mama, and just it's just so satisfying. But everything, I love charro beans. My daughter's husband had a birthday party Sunday, so she's like, Mom, can you make some charro beans? Sure, but by the way, can you make some rice? I'm like, girl. But it's real easy to me. It just comes natural. I just tell my husband, I'll cook, but you clean up. He's like, no, don't clean up, because then I have to be washing dishes. But he's my helper. I said every good chef has an assistant, so
that's it.
You're it.
So he gets to be the assistant.
Yes, that's right.
Good. What brings you the most joy in your life, first as it relates to education?
The children. It's just so powerful to see the children be successful, or just be a champion to your students. There's a student that I see her in me. And her parents are immigrants, don't know English, and it was just something about her sparkle, just so bright. Now she's in GT, she's written a book, she sings. I make sure she's out in the community. She even competed in the Young Chef competition. So I feel like I'm her champion. That if I always wonder, if I would have had a champion, where would I be today?
Yes.
And so I just champion behind the kids, and there's just so many kids that just need that champion. And even right before I left, we have Waco IC has a lot of in and out, a lot of mobility. So there's a family of 4 that come from it's a hard family, and recently moved to another area. And to me, you know, we call the students a 1-pointer, half a pointer, 0-pointer. To me, no children should be labeled like that. These are probably kids that are going to be your 0-pointers in accountability. But if we're in it for the right reason, those students need to stay at Kendrick, because that's the only thing stable in their life. So just champion behind them. Several years ago, we had a student that came to us from the system. She came from the DFW area, had been in several ISD, smaller, white. She was African American. She just couldn't relate. And she blossomed. And it's after the pandemic, opens a door, and her only person that had been championed for her foster mom, she finds her dead. And so she goes to the Methodist home, and we're there, and I'm like, please, just bring her back. And she's one that's disciplined. She's one that's beating up kids. She's one that's roasting the teacher. I mean, she is one that but it doesn't matter. You shouldn't look at it that way. If you're in it for kids, this is what she needs. This is the best for her. And so it's situations like that where people don't understand. I'm like, you'll never understand if you don't understand that kids are number one.
Yes.
And so those are a lot of hard conversations that, I have with just staff, and just, getting them to understand and see things through a different point, different lens as to why we have to champion for kids, because we might be the only thing that's stable in their life.
Yes.
And I remember telling the mom, she said, Miss Lozano, please, can they stay? They've already told me they have to go, because I told them that we were moving. I think there was a home visit, and I said, no, you can stay. You can stay. I'll email the district. You can stay. I said, with the condition that they have to come to school. Mm-hmm. At the point you can't bring them, then that's a different conversation, because they have to be. And they're there every day. And I remember that the little girl that's in 4th grade the next day, Miss Lozano, thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for allowing me to stay. Like, something, you would think, oh, she won't even understand. But something
doesn't
so
matter
small.
to them. Yeah.
It matters.
It matters. It matters.
Help you. There's people really in the community. There's money out there. There's resources. You just have to connect with the right people.
Yes.
So, for example, MCC has that session tomorrow. Great place for people to connect.
Wow.
Great place for you to connect, and you can do it. It might take you longer. It took me longer.
Yes.
I was 34 when I got my bachelor's degree. It took me a long time, and it was just crying out, Lord, I don't think I can do it. You can do it if you persevere, and if you make a decision. I remember saying, a lot of people say, oh, you don't need education. You can do it without education. But to me, education was what helped me break that cycle of poverty.
Yes.
And so I tell people, you can do it. It doesn't have to be a doctorate degree. It doesn't have to be a master's degree. It can even be technical school.
Yes.
TSTC has wonderful programs. My daughter actually said, if I wouldn't have received a full ride to Texas A&M, I would have gone to TSTC. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. I tell people there's nothing wrong where you begin as long as you finish. As long as I used to hear a lot of conversation, oh, I'll never go to MCC. There's nothing bad with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Finish. You can start at MCC and finish at Tarleton, finish at Baylor, finish Texas Tech, anywhere that you want, but just start. Take that leap of faith. You can do it. And to me, when I remember starting, I had to take some remedial courses in math, because if you don't use math, you lose it.
Yes.
And so, my kids were growing up, algebra 1, algebra 2. I couldn't help them. I can't even help you with 3rd grade math nowadays. It's so complicated with everything they're teaching now. So it's just, you can do it.
Yes.
You can do it, and you will be able to do it. You just have to be determined, and you have to, you can't, in life, I would always tell my kids, you're going to have to make choices. You're going to have to make decisions. But just remember, every choice you make has a good or bad consequence.
Definitely.
So just think about it. Right now, maybe I would tell my kids, enjoy the stage of life where you're in, where you're at. Middle school, enjoy being a quirky little middle school.
Yes.
Don't try to be a high schooler. Enjoy. If you're in high school, enjoy being high school. Don't try to grow up and drink and party. Those days will come.
Yes.
You enjoy being high school. Enjoy, being in band. Enjoying being in art club. UIL. Enjoy. You will never get that back. You will never get that back.
Definitely.
So it's just enjoy the stage of life where you're at, and everything will come. But put God first. That's just the key.
Yes.
Put God first in everything you do.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. So what I heard was love yourself enough to start somewhere.
Yes.
No matter where. But ultimately, you got to keep God first in all that you do.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen. And I'm not going to pick up an offering right now, but.
Well, Pirate Nation, there you have it, straight from our TEPSA Principal of the Year, 30-year Waco ISD educator, a veteran, amazing principal at Kendrick Elementary, community leader, community figure, but most of all, a champion for kids, Mrs. Lozano. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of our podcast. But most of all, thank you for what you do every day for our students and in the lives of our students.
Thank you for inviting me.
Not a problem. Thank you, Pirate Nation, for tuning in. Thank you for joining the Anchor Podcast. Thank you for sharing this time with us. As we close, please remember to like, subscribe, share the podcast, because everyone needs to hear what Mrs. Lozano has to say. Until next time, Pirate Nation, keep refusing to sink.